Federal authorities in Kansas City announced today that 73-year-old Frazier Glenn Cross, who also goes by the name F. Glenn Miller, will face hate crime charges. He was arrested Sunday in the shooting deaths of 3 people outside 2 separate Jewish facilities near Kansas City. 69-year-old William Corporon had reportedly driven his 14-year-old grandson, Reet Underwood, to the Jewish Community Center so he could audition for a singing competition. They were killed first. And the third victim, 53-year-old Terry Lamino, was killed while visiting her mother at the Village Shalom assisted living facility.
It takes no character to do what was done. It takes no strength of character. It takes no backbone. It takes no morals. It takes no ethics. All it takes is an idiot with a gun.
Cross, the lone suspect right now, has a long history of anti-Semitism and a close relationship with the Ku Klux Klan. And to those who monitor this subculture, particularly the white supremacist and neo-Nazi subculture, Cross's arrest does not exactly come as a surprise. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, Cross is a former Green Beret who served in Vietnam, first turned toward white supremacist groups in the 70s before forming the Carolina Knights of the KKK, in which he served as the Grand Dragon. The SPLC says Cross represented a new militant breed of Klan leaders in the 1980s, preferring fatigues over the traditional Klan robe and training his troops in military tactics. Southern Poverty Law Center sued Cross in the 1980s for running an illegal paramilitary group and intimidating African Americans. And after a court settlement in that case barred Cross's KKK group from intimidation and paramilitary operations, Cross started a new Klan group called the White Patriot Party, which of course violated the court settlement. Charged with criminal contempt, Cross did 6 months in jail, and according to the SPLC, basically disappeared for a while once he was released. When he finally emerged, he put together a hit list for an Aryan terrorist organization and even had a point system for each kill. 1 point for those he described with the N-word, 10 points for white race traitors, 10 points for Jews, 50 points for judges, and at the top of the list, a kill worth 888 points was a man named Morris Seligman Dees, who at the time headed up the Southern Poverty Law Center. Joining me now to advance the story, the man at the top of that list and founder of the Southern Poverty Law Center himself, Morris Dees. Mr. Dees, you have basically been an adversary, a nemesis of this man who is now accused of this horrific, horrific crime. How are you feeling?
Well, certainly I feel sorry, very sorry for the family that lost the lives of their loved ones and those who was killed. But in a way, we feel a bit lucky that he wasn't closer to us, because I think he would have turned his guns our way. In that case you're talking about, that criminal prosecution, Richard Cohen, who's my colleague at the center, and myself, were appointed special prosecutors for the federal government to prosecute Miller for criminal contempt of court. After the prosecution, while he was waiting on appeal, Miller then goes underground with some of his people. A nationwide manhunt was charged, trying to find him, and I think it's because he said he wanted to kill a federal judge, and me too. He was found and brought to justice. I think that something happened to Miller in this particular case, and I think that may explain maybe why he did what he did today. He cut a deal with the federal prosecutors who were going after some other very violent, racist neo-Nazi militants in the country, and he testified against them. He should have gotten 20 years in the case against myself and the federal judge, but they only got 3 years for participating, helping the government. And he became an outsider. None of the people in the hate movement really paid him any attention. They thought he was a real traitor. And today, he could be doing this today because to gain himself some, recognition, saying, look, I'm a stand-up guy. You guys are just talking. I go out and kill people that I think are enemies of the white race.
So this guy was at this point in his career as a neo-Nazi, as a white supremacist, was viewed as a snitch, as someone outside the movement who was actually not central to it at this point.
No, he definitely was not central to it, even though he had been posting considerably on an Aryan neo-Nazi website, some 10,000 posts, but he still hadn't been accepted back in the movement. And he represents, though, a lot of people we see in this movement today. The Southern Poverty Law Center has put out of business over 10 major hate groups, including the Aryan nations, bankrupted them. But today we have a larger number of hate groups they're smaller and meaner. They don't have the hundreds and thousands of members like Miller had in his organization. And these people are frustrated with the changing demographics of America. They're frustrated with Obama being President of the United States. We just saw on your show here the cattle farmer in Nevada arguing that he shouldn't have to pay rent to the federal government. And look at the people surrounding him. Those people, I think, represent the militia groups today that are increasing in number. We've seen a whole lot of these killings by people like Miller. We saw the Jewish synagogue in Birmingham.
Yeah, I want to just stop you right there because in terms of the trend, in terms of the amount of violence we see from white supremacists, from neo-Nazis, what does that landscape look like? I mean, how common is something like this, as horrific as it is?
I think it's quite common. We have a group called the Sovereign Citizens who've killed 7 law enforcement officers in the last 10 years. They stop them on the highway for something, they just shoot them and kill them. We've seen the Buford Furrow situation where the guy was a member of a neo-Nazi group that shot up a Jewish group in Los Angeles. And we saw the guard killed at the Holocaust Center by a guy who was a Miller type, a long-term activist. And then the Sikh killing in Minneapolis, where the guy that did the killing was a hardcore neo-Nazi guy. These people are frustrated. Political divisions in our country are frustrating them today, and they're obsessed against Jews. They think Jews are taking control of our government, and they see Obama as just a pawn of the Jews. What's ironic is that Miller here, going after trying to kill Jews, killed 2 Methodists and a Catholic, which was tragic.
Senseless in any case, I would say. Morris Dees from the Southern Poverty Law Center, thank you so much for your time.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
Coming up, this weekend's events at the Republicans' Freedom Summit in New Hampshire weren't doing something we never do on this show, playing sound from Donald Trump. That, plus a conversation with one of the most well-connected GOP campaign operatives out there, Steve Schmidt, is ahead.